Alrighty. So the title of this video is going to be Married at 26, My Thoughts. Okay, it might not actually be that exactly, but that's the point of this video. I actually tried to tape this earlier during my lunch break and I kind of ran out of time. That made me realize I probably needed to think about it to be a little bit more concise on the next time around. So here we are. I just got done working out at work. And so I'm in the parking lot right now. Hopefully none of my coworkers that are still here think I'm like psychotic. But the point of this video is to just kind of talk about how my thoughts have shifted as I've grown older, from just around marriage in general, but maybe even also about kids too. Because, well, I'll try to keep it concise, but I just think that, it's an important message for people out there. I mean, I guess it's not that important, but when I was in high school, when I was in middle school, when I was in college, even to a certain degree, it seemed like marriage was something that really would happen after I was like 30 something. And then kids, like first kid at like 34, 35. Because when I was in high school and college to a degree, I was so hyper focused on being able to set myself up to make enough money to provide for not only like my family that exists right now, my parents and things like that, but also for my future family that I hope to have in the future. And at that time, I thought that would be like 2 or 3 kids or something, I grew up in a situation where it wasn't like we were ever like in poverty or anything like that, but there were times where we had to worry about money a little bit. And I just don't, I thought that if I put my future children in a situation worse than I was in, then that would be terrible. And I was so hyper fixated on that, to me, the idea of getting married or even finding somebody that would be marriable was going to take, forever. And I was going to be so focused on work and making money that just simply wouldn't have time to do stuff like that. The reality is that I think a lot of people still think that way, even at an older age, like in their mid to late 20s. They're still like, well, I'm still in the middle of things. And for many of those people, that's totally fine. Like, you absolutely, if you don't have like a significant other in your life that you can marry, obviously it's kind of out of your control. But for those of you that do and that could get married but are choosing not to because of some, ethereal existential threat, like having enough money or something like that. For one thing, that's just not really what it's about. But as I've gotten older and as I actually did get married 2 weeks ago, what I've realized is that a lot of that pressure that maybe society or sometimes your upbringing puts on you to think that you have to hit a certain goal or pass a certain threshold before you can do something with your life, it's in general fake. And I could talk about this for a million things. Like, one of them especially is like smart kids like myself or others that go into corporate America. It's like, we literally, like, why work for somebody else if you feel like you know your field so well? That's something has been bothering me a lot. But nobody forces you to get a corporate job. You can start your own business. Nobody has to tell you it's okay. Similarly, like, there's no amount of money that will make getting married, like, I guess if you want to have a big marriage like ceremony, then yeah, you're gonna need some money. But in general, there's no amount of money that's gonna make you more secure. You're never gonna have enough money to feel like it's the perfect time to have kids or something like that. Because just like all of us, if we get in the mindset of like, this is the barrier that I need to reach, either you don't hit that barrier because of things in or out of your control, or you don't hit it fast enough, or your life is completely different and you don't even, the framework in which you thought about these things is totally different. For me, it was all about money. I need to have enough resources to know that I can provide for a family, that I can provide for a wife, before I want to do something like that. And second, when I got into college, I literally was like it wasn't even about the resources as much anymore, because once I was in business school, I was like, okay, I'm gonna make some change, you know. That part's gonna be okay as long as I do what I'm supposed to do. But the other part of it was like, you know, coming into college, like I didn't even think that I could possibly meet somebody that I love as much as I love Mary Elizabeth. And it's just, you know, your mindset on things changes over time. And when I met her, I literally had I had no interest in even having a girlfriend, like across the board. You talk to any of my friends from that time period, especially if my friend Will came back from Australia and saw that I was dating somebody and was like completely shocked. You know what I mean? The the reality is like when I met her, it was obvious to me that like it was like I need to date this girl. I need to marry her. Like this is exactly who I want to be with, right? And those things will just come across to you at life. Like it's not something you can plan on, you know, let alone, you know, I was so adamant. I thought I was so smart being like, well, I'm just going to stack bread till I'm like 30 something. Then I'll have the opportunity to do whatever the hell I want. And, you know, some people successfully do that, but at the end of the day, that's not what I wanted to do. In my mind, my ideal situation, my perfect dream was that I was a consultant, I was traveling every week, and, you know, hopefully, you know, I don't think I wanted to be, you know, having issues romantically or something like that, but I wasn't necessarily thinking about, you know, if you're traveling all the time, you can't necessarily see the person that you're dating or so much all the time, you know? Which is what ended up happening was I did get that job as a consultant. I did work for one of the companies that I set out to do that at. I did work in the field that I wanted to, but the travel made it like something I just couldn't possibly do because being away from my girlfriend, now wife, at the time, like I just couldn't. It was just like it was hurting me. Every Monday I would wake up and go to the airport and just be like sad, you know? And I wouldn't get home until Thursday at midnight. So even though Friday is a cushy day in consulting, it's just like at the end of the day, your priorities in life will make themselves available to you when it's the right time. But if any of you are sitting around there being like, I can't possibly get married because I don't have enough money, that's stupid. Just stop thinking that way. That's dumb. Like, honestly, no offense. Like, if you want to have a big wedding, that's probably true. But if it's about whether or not you love somebody and if you just want to be with them, it's what do you have to do other than go to the courthouse? And do you have to have a house together? No. Do you have to live? You could be living in your parents' house. It's all that stuff is like extra. It's not important to the main key point of what you're trying to do. And like similarly, I've been thinking about having kids too. And personally, I'm not really. I mean, I don't think we'll be having them anytime soon. Like lightning fast soon. Like you're not going to see me post something about that within the next couple months. But it's just like, what are we waiting for? Like my generation especially, because all of us have this thing of like, oh, okay, I got to be making this amount of money so that I know everybody's taken care of. Or I don't really want to have kids till I'm this age because I want to focus on my career at first because our parents didn't focus on their careers, which is not true for everybody's parents or even mine. But the thing is that all of those frameworks that you're thinking about that in, they're kind of distorted already. Like from the jump, they're kind of false. Because like, bruh, if you have a kid, like all my friends that either on purpose or accidentally had kids very early on, I am so jealous of all of them. For one thing, because they all have these beautiful, awesome families. First one that immediately comes to mind in my head is John and Gabby, but it's just like, there's obviously so many people, including my own siblings, that have kids now. But it's like everybody fixates on all these checklists that you have to finish before you can do something. But it's just, they're not real. Like talking to every parent I've talked to so far about this subject, some I have not, but my parents, my siblings, my sibling in-laws, my, you know, everybody that's recently had a kid that I've talked to, they all pretty much say like, yes, it's challenging to have a kid. Yes, it takes a village, but it's the most rewarding thing that you could ever do. Even if they weren't necessarily sure it would be when they first got pregnant, they're like, it's the most awesome thing that ever happened to us. Kids are so funny. They're so amazing. and you will never have enough money to do it. So just do it. Like, they're going to drain your bank account no matter what you do, no matter how much money you have. So just do it. And it's like, if everybody's saying that, why are we so focused on, like I said before, completing these checklists to be able to do something that we really want to do that is like human F? That, anyway, you guys get my point. I'm yapping at this point. But the quintessential point that I'm trying to make is that when I was younger, when I was in high school, all the way to when I was like a junior / beginning of senior year of college, I was so convinced that life was about getting in the career, grinding for the corporation, making the big promotion, making the crazy money, and then having a family after the fact as an older person, because all my friends that have older parents are way richer. You know what I mean? But the reality is, like, I got the job I was supposed to get, and I was miserable. If I waited any longer to marry Mary Elizabeth, I think I would go crazy. I think I would worry that she would leave me or something like that. It's actually not true. She would never do that. But it's just like, you know, it just felt like something that had to be done right now. And it makes me so happy to be married. And then, like, with kids and stuff, it's like, you know, I was like dead serious for years, thinking like I'll probably definitely have kids because I want to, you know, like pass on my will and stuff like that. But, and like, you know, help future generations, all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, I was like, but that's something that, you know, I want to be rich when I have kids. So we'll do like 35 or something. Could you imagine, like, I know there's a lot of people that have kids at 35, so I'm not saying you guys are crazy, but I'm just saying, like, at the time, I thought I was going to have 3 kids because I am a family of 3 kids, like me and my 2 sisters. But now I'm pretty sure that me and Mary Elizabeth are set on having like 5. And the idea of like having my first kid at 35, and if you space them all out, it's like, bruh, when the last kid is 18, I'm going to be ancient. You know what I mean? It's not going to be like, I'm not going to be able to have the same effect on their life that I would if I started earlier. So my point is, all these invisible barriers or checklists that you think are so important to yourself, you may end up finding out that, for one thing, you don't even care that much about them, or 2, that these, you know, fake thresholds that you have to meet, they're really not based in fact. You know what I mean? So anyway, I just thought that was an interesting message. I guess my point, I'm going to say my point a million times, but I guess what I'm trying to do with this video is just tell people that, you know, follow your gut, follow your heart. That sounds funny. It sounds cheesy, but honestly, because it's just like, you know, it's your life. You got to live it, man. And if you put all these weird time barriers between you and doing some of the most fundamental aspects of life, you're going to kind of, I think, spend a lot of years wasting your time building up stuff that you don't even need, you know? So anyway, I gotta drive home. I gotta stop yapping. So I appreciate you guys for watching the video. If you made it this far, please subscribe down below. If you have any feedback for this video, please let me know in the comments down below. If you liked the video, like it. If you dislike it, go ahead and dislike it, but let me know in the comments why. It's okay if you're mean, but I would appreciate it if you weren't. But anyway, that's the video. Thank you guys. I'll talk to you on the next one.